Well, welcome everyone. I am so excited today to have this amazing conversation. I know it's going to be with Annetta Doolittle, Dr. Annetta Doolittle. She is just an amazing woman. I had the opportunity of being in one of her groups, and I just had an amazing time in being a part of that group. So before I have her talk, I'm going to tell you something about her, and I want to read it because I want to get it right. Dr. Annetta, she is an esteemed advisor, an entrepreneur dedicated to empowering women to lead fulfilling lives aligned with their values, their vision, and their voice. She is the visionary behind Faith to Feed LLC. Annetta has cultivated a transformative platform that offers holistic guidance and support for women seeking to navigate life's challenges in womanhood, in marriage, and motherhood. I love this part. While becoming and being healthy and whole without settling. Wow, that is just so powerful. And she also has some signature membership groups, and she does one-on-one advising and coaching. And we're going to get in a little bit of that during our conversation. Welcome, Dr. Annetta. So glad to have you.
Hello, Miss Jackie. Thank you for having me on. It's such an honor. I'm glad to be here. Hello to your audience.
Yes. So how's your day been going so far?
My day has been going great. I got
Okay.
a chance to drop my kids off to school. Today is
Oh,
rainy. But yeah, it's going great. I'm here having this interview with you. It's a blessing. It's always a blessing to have conversations with women, have conversations with women about womanhood, marriage, and motherhood. I enjoy that all the time. I'm always learning. So yeah, it's going good, and I'm glad to be here.
I'm so glad to have you. And we're going to just jump right into it. So you have this baby, Faith to Feed LLC. And like you said, your vision is helping women to preserve and protect their values, their vision, and their voice. Tell us a little bit more about that. How did that all come into play?
So just a little background. I am a podiatrist. So I know I'll get a chance to tell my story a little bit about it anyway, but faith to feet comes from that. I have faith in God and I'm a podiatrist. But also, I grew up just in the church. So once you leave your parents' house, you really do start to focus on your own relationship with God. They created this space to introduce God to you. And so that was a healthy space for me to learn about God through Sunday school, going to, Bible study, church, all of the things. And so as I left and graduated college and went on to podiatry school and graduated from there, life continued to unfold for me as it pertains to my faith and how I was using my faith in those different spaces and as an adult. And so that's how Faith to Feet was birthed.
Wow, that is really awesome. Oh my God. And as you were talking about it, it made me think about, I'm sure there were times when you felt like your vision or your voice um, and even your values, may have been challenged during that process. Um, would you like to tell us anything about that?
Yeah, I can speak from personal experiences, but we'll save it for just one. I would just say the transition from, being a podiatrist, a full-time operating podiatrist, into being a season of just being a full-time stay-at-home military wife and mother, and then a season of, beginning my journey of entrepreneurship. So why would I say that my values were challenged then? Because the pregnancy wasn't planned per se, but I always wanted to be a mother, and I really wanted to be a mother of 5 children, but just not at that particular time. I had some other plans in mind, but I had to learn to align my values with God's values. So I think that the challenging part was, yeah, I wanted to be a mother. I just didn't want to be a mother when I found out at that time, or not even say I didn't want to. That just wasn't a part of my timeline. And so what I had to, lean into was, me saying to God, whatever it is that you have called me to do, not just outside the home, but inside of the home, I want to surrender and submit to that. And so as a part of, the value, the vision, and the voice, I always, value mothers that would be able to impart and imprint and impact their own children's lives. And for a time being, that's exactly what God was allowing me to do in my own daughters, because I have twin daughters. My husband and I have twin daughters. So, that was challenging within itself, and being a military wife at the, we're still in the military, but being a military wife as well. And so, I thought it would be somewhere just, I'm gonna take a year off, and do what I need to do and impart and imprint and impact these little babies' lives. And, but God had another plan and a different length of time in my impacting their lives. And so I think that it was important for me, and it's important for all women, to just align your values with what God says that He wants for you in that season. Because, you can see the whole big picture, as we got it step 1 through 10, but, we have to allow that flexibility for God to say, this is what I want, and this is how I want. Like, right? Sometimes it's easier with the what. Oh, being the mother, I wanted that too, God. You want that for me? I want it too. And then the how I want you to be. So, those that value the vision and the voice, you want them to align with God's ultimate value and vision and voice for you.
Wow, and that is just so powerful. As you were talking, I was beginning to wonder, how did you know that, it was aligned? Because sometimes we might think that we are aligned and it's really us and
Yeah,
it's not really God.
absolutely.
So,
That's a good question, Miss Jack. You are so right about how sometimes we think that we are aligned. So I'll tell you how I knew I wasn't aligned. Because
mm,
again, I was like, okay, I found out in my senior year of podiatry school that I was pregnant. And so I'm like, oh, okay, it's one baby. I can do this thing and it's gonna happen. Like, I was still, trying to adjust the strings of the outcome, right? And so I get to the doctor and they were like, no, it's 2 babies, right? And so in my mind, I had already worked this out. Like, okay, I can have this babysitter in place over here. I can have this daycare, all of the things, And so those things weren't panning out. And when you think about your values, you have to think about your values from a perspective of, I'm writing the values that I have, and then I'm asking God, now, is this level of value a value that I am assigning to myself? Or is this the God-given value that you have given me, in this earth? Right. And so there were times when I was doing things in that very season that just were not working out. It's like some things you do have to, there is resistance, and you say a prayer and you ask God to, help you fight through and to stand. And some things, you're resisting the Holy Spirit, right? You're resisting God Himself. And you just, you tailor that prayer and say, God, am I resisting you? Or is this something that with the help of you, I can overcome it? And so I think it was that me, praying in that manner, but also, like, I am a person that I will not give up. Like, I'm going to keep doing and doing. And so I kept taking my little newborn babies to interviews with me, and I really wasn't getting the interview. I wasn't getting the jobs. And I took that as God speaking to me for that season. And I am telling you, this is where I want you to be. I want you to be influencing in your home, impacting in your home. And so I really had to, like, get in position and say, God, I trust your vision. I trust your plan, and surrender to it fully. So I can tell you, I knew by just constantly doing things over and over that was not working, and I wanted it to work differently. And I had to just finally surrender.
wow, you said some key things there. I love when you talked about, trusting the vision and trusting the plan, knowing that, he knows us and he knows what's best for us. better than we even know, so sometimes we think, oh God, you really don't know. I think I need to help you out. But like you just said, you want to trust the vision and trust the plan. And I like when you talked about, writing your values down and then asking God, is this aligning with me? Is this me, or God, is this aligning with what you want from me? And when I ask that question, then that means that I have to trust the vision, trust the plan,
Absolutely.
trust his answer, because it may not be the one I want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you know
Wow,
what
that is
else?
so.
You know what else? Like, and through your evolution of your relationship with God, and or progression as your relationship with God grows, you will see, like, sometimes every season the answer isn't no, or the answer isn't not right now, or the answer isn't maybe. So in that season where, like I said, I'm taking these little babies on interviews with me and stuff, my whole family going to interviews, and the answer was no. I also taken my daughters to interviews in a different season of my life, and the door was open, and you know what I mean, and it showed me, because I'm like, Lord, I didn't have anybody to watch them, first of all, and so I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have to take them with me on this interview. And I took them, and it was fine, and God opened the door, and it was a season where he was allowing me to, go out and work again, you know what I mean. And so it's being, not allowing your heart, your disappointments to harden your heart, right? Because that was disappointing for me, if I'm honest, right? We got to share, like, those emotions that we experience, because I tell people I'm from a small town, so me leaving Arkansas going to Miami, that was like, my big plans and dreams that I had for myself, and thinking that I've hit every wicket, boom, 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 so this should work out just exactly how I wanted it to work out. But God's ways are higher than our ways. And I do believe that, my daughters are 15 years old now. The impact that I've made on their lives initially, when I was resisting, wanting to be in that space like that, like, it's priceless. It's priceless. And I don't even get to see, I haven't seen all of the fruit of that right now, but just the little bit that I've seen, it's like, they wouldn't have been these people had I not obeyed God. Yeah.
Ooh, you are saying a mouthful. And the other takeaway that I'm getting from what you're sharing is also sometimes we look for God in the same place all the time. And,
Mhm.
yes, because he done it this way doesn't mean that he can't do it another way. And the other
Absolutely.
interesting part is you did the same thing in two different situations and you had different
It's different.
results. So you can't
Mhm.
assume, okay, I couldn't do it this time. So God said no, but if I do this again, God's going to still say no. It kind of goes back to what you said, trusting that vision, trusting that
Mhm.
plan, just trusting how he's leading you. You weren't able to get a babysitter, so your options were few. Okay, Lord, I'm trusting you that I'm going to take them again. It didn't work the last time, but I'm going to trust you. If this door is open, you're going to allow it to open. And that is exactly what happened. Oh, my world. Now, I know you have a group, 360 Woman. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so Focus 360 Woman is the membership group that I have, that I have a tagline that says focus leads to transformation, and it's about women focusing on 5 areas of their lives, being intentional and intentive about these 5 P's. It's your purpose, it's your peace, it's your posse, right? The people that you surround yourself with, it's your physique, your health, and that's not just outer health, but internally. And then the last P is going to be your purse, right? Our finances, and I think of Proverb, we all have heard of the Proverbs 31 woman in some form or fashion. I believe she had the ability to manage those 5 P's: her peace, her purpose, her posse, her physique, and then her purse. And so that those things are very, very important to me as a woman. And I think that those are places that requires our focus. And sometimes we forget that we're women that are evolving, right? And we want to be whole, we want to be complete. I think of some places in the Bible, God has called people blameless. And when I've looked up, he called Abraham blameless. And blameless just means whole, it means complete. And as much as women are impacting lives of not just children, their spouses, we're impacting lives in the workplaces that we are at, in our churches. And also, I always give this statistics, women usually outlive men. And so when you know something like that, why not be healthy? Why not be as whole and complete as you can, impacting those different areas in lives, right? Because we know that people have a legacy that will live on even after they die. But if I'm here for a long time, God has given me that grace to be here for a long time. Let's do it in a whole, healthy way. Yeah.
Wow.
So
And
that's
those
what
are
we focus on in there.
Wow, that is powerful. And to me, those principles are seem like they're very good principles to apply, even when you talk about being your own BFF, being
Mhm.
being bold, being fulfilled, and being free. In order for that to happen, you need those 5 P's to be operating
Yeah.
and functioning in your life for sure. Oh my God. Can you tell us a little bit about one of those P's? You can pick
Okay.
any one.
I'll talk about peace. In Focus 360 membership, we focus on those 5 P's, but we do it each week, and we take, it's by increments. And what we have been doing the past month or so, we've been focusing on peace. And there's a scripture in Psalms that says, seek peace and pursue it. So peace has to be pursued, right? And so, in order for us to pursue something in the most energized, optimized way, in Focus 360 Woman, we have been talking about doing the heart work, right? Because, like, if I want to get after something, usually I got to go to the doctor, and I have to take a stress test, and they tell me my heart's condition as it relates to physical activity. And so, in order for us to pursue peace, we got to do the heart work first. So in there, we have been focusing on the past few weeks, just heart work. What have been some things that are slowing down the pace of how you do things? Like, the doctor is going to check your heart rate. He's going to check, or she is going to check the pace. They're also going to check the level of intensity that you can do
Mhm.
an activity. And so I always say to us in Focus 360, you might be at a crawl or a jog, a light run, or even just a walk, right? In some level or area of your life that God is calling you to be a little bit stronger or higher in, but it's okay. But you know that, hey, I want to get to the full completion of pursuing peace by doing that hard work and recognizing that, hey, something's slowing me down in this area. And so you got to, be able to ask yourself the questions, those hard questions. But I always say it's even tougher because sometimes we ask those questions in our mind, but we really don't answer them. Right. And so, yeah, that's some of the work that we have actually been doing
Wow.
in Focus 360 Woman.
Wow, that sounds like a awesome group to be a part of for sure. And we'll
Yeah.
talk about how you can become a part of that as we go on. So you talked about, being a 360 woman, being a focused woman. We talked about, preserving your values and your vision and your voice. You talked about being a parent, being a wife, being an entrepreneur. So how do you balance all of those things, when you haven't, how could I say, how can women balance the desire to please others with the need to honor their own values?
Oh, that's a good question, Miss Jackie. So, repeat it one more time.
I'm saying, how can women balance the desire to please others with the need to honor their own values?
So I would say, you said please others. I recognize that pleasing others is it's a thing, right? It's a real thing that you really want to please others for the simple fact that we all started out with that in mind, really, your caretakers or your parents, whoever raised you or reared you, you really wanted to please them, right? And if you are a faith-based person or a religious person, you want to please God. I think it's all in asking God to give you a healthy perspective on what pleasing others looks like. And it might take, and I know it did for me, because that is one of the places that God had to strengthen me in, where I was really weak in wanting to, or that was a weakness, wanting to please others, right? I think that replacing that word pleasing others outside of pleasing God, because I still want to please God, but the Bible tells us to do your best to be at peace, right, with all men. And so if I replace the pleasing them to, because sometimes, as we talked about, we talk about in Focus 360, peace is one of those P's, and pursuing peace is sometimes I have to actively distance myself to make sure you're okay and I'm okay. And then sometimes God brings me back into the relationship at a different season in a different way. So if we could reframe it or replace the word, I want to please my mom, or I want to please my dad, I want to be at peace with them, as God is requiring me in this season. So God, what does peace look like for me and for Miss Jackie, or or whomever else?
Right,
So that's
right.
what I would say.
Wow.
I don't know if it's a balance more than for me. I've, had to do it myself. And it's just being at peace with others.
That's well said, and I love that scripture that you quoted. It's definitely one, and I like the fact that you said having a healthy perspective
Yeah,
because
because
that
we grew
makes
up in that
all the
foundation,
room.
right? Yeah,
Yes,
like we
yes,
all grew up in we wanted to please our parents and make them
yes.
smile and make them happy,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes. And you find that you just kind of carry it on through life,
Exactly.
in your workforce, like you said, in your communities, in your
Mhm.
home, on your job. And sometimes if we're not careful, we neglect our own values, we
Yeah,
neglect ourselves in trying to please other people.
others.
So would you say in all of these roles and doing all these things and taking on all these responsibilities, how important is self-care when it comes to that? How important is it to have time for yourself? That definitely help you get your peace.
Right, it definitely does. It's definitely important. I think that we all know, we hear the phrase all the time, you can't pour from an empty cup. But I also think what's important is the fountain that you put your cup to get the
Mhm.
replenishing for. And I think the self-care, it does start with, am I really taking care of the inner self? Right, like we think and so this, the scripture that says, the outward man is wasting away daily, but the inward man is the outward man is wasting away, but the inward man is being built up daily. So I think the self-care is, God, I need you to pour into me today and every day, and then I need you to help me see me as you see me, and as I take care of myself, and do those good things that you say, that men will see my good works and
Mhm.
glorify the Father which is in heaven. So it just starts with me, hooking up to the right fountain for the self-care, and
Wow.
then saying, God, I want to make sure that I am doing these good things for myself and for others, that, it will glorify you.
Wow. Well said. Definitely well said. I don't have anything to add to that. That was just well,
Yeah,
well
I know
said.
self-care looks different for everybody, but yeah, for
Absolutely.
me, that's what self-care looks like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's interesting how that P keeps coming up in everything that we're talking about.
Mhm.
That piece is definitely, it makes me almost feel like it's foundational in many,
Mhm.
many things. Like you said, you want to have peace. You want to have peace with God. You want to have peace with man. It's just a word that I don't think we maybe give it as much attention as we should. We just say, I want peace or I want to feel peace. And we
Right.
say it like that, but there's a whole lot that
That you
comes.
got to pursue.
There
Yeah.
you go.
You
There
got to
you go.
pursue it.
You have to pursue it daily. Sometimes, several times throughout the day, you have to pursue it.
Absolutely, you do. So, and that's the enemy, right? He wants to catch us sleeping on the job,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And
yeah.
don't let them catch you sleeping, right? Yeah.
Mhm. Wow. Well, I'm so excited about all that you're doing. I'm just enjoying this conversation. I believe that it's definitely, helping people. Now, I've been a part of another one of your groups called the Wives Council. Can you
Mhm.
tell us a little bit about that one? She's got a lot
Okay,
going
well,
on, guys.
listen, Wives Council. I know Miss Jackie said, Focus 360 Woman, that's my baby. Y'all, Wives Council was my first baby. So I got twins, y'all. It's playing out in just my everyday entrepreneurship, right? So he has equipped me to do this thing from starting at home first, and I had to be
Mhm.
attentive to those two little babies. And now I'm attentive to Focus 360 Woman as well as Wives Council, but Wives Council came first. And it's a free membership. It's a free community. It stands for Women Intentionally Valuing Every Season. So that's what wives stand for, in season of marriage, right? And then I also started to incorporate single women, because what I found was that in Wives Council, because it's a play on words, right? Wisdom. We use wisdom in managing our challenging, or not even challenging, but just the different seasons of marriage. And those group of women that are part of Wives Council are very vulnerable. They're very authentic. And so I thought, man, listening to how they are navigating each season of their lives made me want to incorporate single women in order to equip them with wisdom for navigating their relationships. Because for me, what was healthy when I was growing up was being able to hear other women talk in a healthy way, and authentic and vulnerable way. And then you're able to like say, wow, okay, I might need to do this differently, or this will help me in this season of my life. So that's what Wives Council is. It's a group of singles and married women, and it's just a community of us asking for godly wisdom, right? That's another thing that I will focus on. It's just not random, advice about how to navigate the different seasons of your marriage. So I think about it's godly wisdom. But I think about, sometimes we'll think, marriage is, going to be all bubbly and it's going to be all lovely every season, but seasons change,
Yes,
and
they
you
do.
gotta have the wisdom to manage those seasons. And like we think about just different things that go on in a marriage. It doesn't have to always be good. It doesn't have to always be bad. It's just, Lord, I need godly wisdom in this season. And when I find that when you have women around you that are supporting what you support, which is your marriage, then
Mhm.
you can, it provides solid support, because these are the three
Mhm.
things that I say Wives Council will provide you: solid support,
Mhm.
solutions, and belly laughs. Some seasons in your marriage, it's just like, Lord, if I can get around some people that will allow me to just crack up, laugh,
Yes,
you know.
yes,
And so I
yes.
think that that's what we do our best to give you: solid support, solid
Mhm.
solutions, and belly laughs. But it is not a place where we bash men or we bash spouses. So I
Mhm.
want to reiterate that that's not what we do in there. It's just, godly wisdom that we are, in discussing our marriages and how to navigate them.
Wow. And that seems like a definitely a powerful need, because relationships can be very, very challenging, and like you said, you go through different seasons in relationships. So it's always, good when you're connected to a group of people that, like you said, are able to give you wise counsel and not just kind of talk off of the top of their head, or,
Right,
shooting
absolutely.
from the hip, so to speak,
Right, right.
but they're able to really allow God to speak through them. And once, with him speaking through that person, it's going to minister to that person that you're talking
Absolutely.
to you, and it's going to land on good soil, and then it's going to produce some good fruit.
You preaching.
So I think I've been a part of that group, and I definitely enjoyed being a part of it. You definitely get everything that she said: solid,
Um,
laughs, wisdom. You get it all there for sure, for
And
sure.
we definitely appreciate what you bring, the value that you bring to the community. And I will say to your audience, that's exactly what I mean. Like, you have women of all different ages that have, been married for different and lengths of times. And we even have some that have been divorced and, and now are, single and, re-entering the dating phase. And so they bring perspective that you may not have had before. And as Miss Jackie said, this is key. Listening to all of the different women that will share. Every woman, you don't have to share. Like, but the women that do share, God will specifically speak, maybe through from just one of them for whatever it is that you have going on in your season. And you like, man, I probably wouldn't have never heard that anywhere else. And so, I mean, I think it's very specific. And I think that you'll hear different stories, and God will make one story just ring home for you. And it will
Mhm.
be the thing, the wisdom that you needed for that season. So, yeah, and I
Wow.
appreciate the value. And so, Miss Jackie, you have been married for 36.
Yep, 37. I think we just had and I usually have to ask my husband to be honest. He got it better than me. That's true, I know. I
But
think
I
it's
know it's
Thursday.
February 14th.
That is true. That is true.
Mhm. Yes. And so,
And so I
you
can
have
relate to
women
what
like
you're
that.
saying. Absolutely. Absolutely. You hitting the head on, I'm telling you. So I would like to ask you before we end this, what advice would you give to women that are struggling, to assert themselves and express themselves, their authentic self in various aspects of their life or various seasons of their lives? Because sometimes we lose our voice.
Yeah, we do. What I would say about your values, your vision, and your voice is to understand that that's the foundation of your character, right? As a woman. And if you think about it that way, your focus will be on the right thing at all times. Like sometimes we're so focused on the outside, the outward appearance, and when we finally do get the title that we wanted, I'm Dr. So and so, and we finally get to the financial status or economic status that we want, or the neighborhood that we want, we hadn't put all the focus enough into identifying what my values are, what my vision is, and what my voice should be saying in order to maintain those things and be people, not just of outward appearance, but of substance. So
Mm,
I would say, even if you're struggling with being assertive, like just ask God to help you identify what are my values, what is valuable, why am I valuable to you, God, right? And then what's your vision for me? I don't
mhm,
think that vision is something that you just create on your own. You are in partnership with God because He is your creator, and He can
mhm,
give you the vision, right? And
mhm.
so as long as, and He will give you the voice, right? He will give you the platform, what your voice it will speak, what's the reason behind or the why behind what it is that you do. And so I think that that's the advice that I would give women, is knowing that, yes, we want to have good character, but what's the foundation of your character? It's knowing your values, your vision, and your voice, and being solid on that.
Wow. Knowing your value, your vision, and your voice, and being solid on it.
And don't settle.
That's right. Keeping the main thing, the main thing.
Yeah, don't settle.
Wow, don't settle. Oh my world. That was good. That was really, really good. So, Dr. Netta, if someone wanted to connect with you, how would they be able to do that? I'm going to have all that information in the description as well, though. But if they wanted to become a part of the Wives Council, or they wanted to become a part of the Focus 360 program, what would they
Mhm.
need to do?
All you have to do is go to faith, the number two, feet.com. So faith to feet.com, and you'll find it'll be in the menu bar, services, both things. Wives Council, again, Wives Council is a free community. We meet every second and fourth Thursday from 8:30 to 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you just go to faith2feet.com and just sign up and become a member. And then if you want to be a part of Focus 360 Woman, it's an investment. It's $47 per month. We meet the first and third Tuesday of every month, and it's at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. And I don't give a time that we get out, because sometimes we run over an hour, and I'm just being honest. But if
Mhm.
you are someone that wants to invest in, the 5 P's as a Focus 360 woman, and being a woman that's whole, complete, and healthy, come right
Wow. Wow.
Do
Well, I
you
would
get involved
definitely,
in wives council or
wow, I would definitely encourage anyone. Like I said, I've been connected to her programs and it will do you good. You can be
thank
assured
you.
that your life will be changed. You'll have an opportunity to meet some amazing women who are doing some amazing things, and everybody is very kind and loving and encouraging, very supportive. You give people space to be themselves, when they're sharing, you give them space to share with no judgment.
Mhm.
Nobody's judging you. We're just listening. And if somebody there has something to add value to support whatever it is that you're sharing, you can believe you're going to receive it. So, Dr. Netta, I am so grateful for this opportunity. I'm sure that our audience, definitely enjoyed it. I pray that you guys go back and watch it and, take some notes from the various nuggets that she shared. And, I believe in, women being able to navigate the various seasons of their lives. And Focus 360 definitely is a tool that can help you navigate the various seasons of your life. It can help you live life to the full. One of my favorite scriptures is, Christ came that we have life and that we have it more abundantly. And so often we settle, we live bland and we live beneath. But there's an opportunity that we can live life and we can live it to the full. So I believe being a part of the 360 focus group or the Focus 360 group will definitely add value to your life. If you're married, if you're single, if you're divorced, if you're widowed, it doesn't matter. You can definitely become a part of that group as well. So again, until next time, be well, be whole, and live life to the full. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, Annetta.
Thank you.